Hi, it's Dan the Real Estate Guy, and I have a special message today for you parents out there that have young kids. You know, you could be young parents with young kids, or you could be a little older but you just had a child or two and they're young and you're wondering how you're going to get them through college. You know, when I talk to young folks without kids, it's really difficult sometimes to get them to think long term. I know I'm probably an anomaly. You know, when I was 22 to 25, I was thinking long term. I was thinking about using real estate as a vehicle to be where I am today. But it's hard for young folks to sometimes think long term, 5 years out, 10 years out, 18 years out. That's a magic number, right? If you're a young parent now. But I see that as soon as folks have kids, they're kind of forced to think long term, aren't they? They're kind of forced to think about the next 18 years and how it's going to play out. They're kind of forced to think about expensive things that might happen along the way. And they got to take a hard look at their income, and they look it over. And I remember feeling like, wow, what am I going to do? You know, I didn't want to hold back my children. What if they could get accepted to an expensive school and I couldn't afford it? I remember that pressure, right? But I also remember what it felt like to reach a point where I thought, wow, you know, I even told one of them, doesn't matter what you get accepted to, we can do it. That's a good feeling, because you want them to live their dreams as well. Right? You don't want to hold them back, you know, because you can't afford it. It's not good. So I want you to think about long term right now. I want you to think about our video training program. I want you to think about this real estate market that was an incredible boom, incredible bust, really low prices today, and how you can leverage that to ensure that you guys are going to be okay, that things are going to be pretty good 18 years from now if you've got young children. If they're only 10 or 12 years out, you're probably still in pretty good shape. If you buy under retail value, heck, it doesn't matter if they're 5 years away from college. You can make it happen. You can develop either income monthly that will pay for that even if values don't even go back up. Or you can do both. You can do a little buying and holding, creating income. You can buy below market with the hopes that the market will go back up by the time they do go off to college. So these are just things to think about. But there's strategies that will allow you to leverage the marketplace no matter what happens. So let's talk about that a little bit. Now that you're kind of looking out ahead, think about what it would be like in today's market just to buy a good solid rental property, one per year, for the next 5 years. You know, in my area, duplexes once sold for $400,000 and higher. I've purchased 4 of them for $85,000 and lower. Right? Today's retail value is about $140 to $160, maybe even $180 in some areas. Rents, usually $850 per side, up to maybe $1,050 depending on the area. So what if you can buy below market? Look at the video called Magic Keepers. Explains in detail how I was able to buy a duplex, get my money back out, and yet the property sits there and pays me $500 a month positive cash flow. What if you had 5 of those? $2,500 a month in positive flow, set aside for school or whatever you need, set aside for the properties whenever they need a little maintenance. And what if then the properties go back up in value? If you had 4 or 5 of them, you probably could sell 1 or 2 and free and clear the other ones. And now you've got properties that are paid for, that are all that rent's coming in and there's no payment. It's really an exciting time. You know, I went through this in the 90s. I purchased over 150 properties with the help of 2 partners. Really thought that was the only down market I was going to get to work in my life. Really worked hard during that time and pretty much set up a lifetime of income from the properties that I purchased back in those days at 50 cents on the dollar in most cases. You know, look around in your area, learn our program, because it's very, very likely that there's opportunity in your marketplace that will allow you to provide better for your family now and really take care of the future. Really, really important. Let's talk about rents. We mentioned rents are $850 to $1,050, could be a little higher in some of the best areas. But where will they be 18 years from now? You know, you could have a strategy that just involves getting a duplex or a single family home and basically having some positive cash flow and then letting that property pay itself down over the next 10 to 15 years. And maybe when it's time for the children to go to college, you already have that covered. You know, maybe they get a scholarship, whatever. Now you can keep that property free and clear and have it paying you and be part of your retirement strategy. It's really exciting stuff. It's the time to buy when a market is beat up, and it could even get worse. We don't know yet. It's an exciting time to be alive, isn't it? We don't know what's going to happen next. But we do know right now you can purchase property for less than the cost of building it. That's a sign to buy. You can buy, a young couple can buy a single family home and their payment will be less than it would have cost to rent that property. That's another sign to buy. Could it go a little lower? I don't know. I don't know. I just know it's really beat up, and it's off 50 to 60% from the top in my area. You need to check your area and see what's going on. But getting back to those rents, where will they be 15 years from now? What if you already have college taken care of? What if there are scholarships or other programs and you have properties now where the rents are now $1,500 to $2,200 a month? A duplex, imagine that. A duplex with maybe $1,500 a side coming in, $3,000 a month. But yet you've paid the property down or paid it off over time. Very exciting. You maintain the building and now it's in your family. It could pay your family for the rest of your lives. There's no technology that's going to replace the place to live. You're not going to replace living in a house, with living somewhere else. That's what I love about real estate. It's not technology driven, right? If you were in the cell phone business many years ago and you didn't change with it, you're gone, right? If you're in certain parts of the computer business and you didn't change with those times, you're gone. But if I buy a house built in 1950 or a duplex built in 1964, it's got a kitchen, it's got a bathroom, bedrooms, a roof, a yard. It's not getting replaced. We can keep those properties in top-notch condition, get good tenants, and have those properties paying the family forever. All right? It's a really interesting concept. It's a really, a lot of people just don't think about it. But you can build that equity, you can build that cash flow. Heck, if you can afford to buy a few more, and you can, because I can show you that it doesn't really matter what you have, if you can find a good transaction, you can find the financing or the money to buy it. And we're going to show you how to do that. Take a look at the Raising Capital, Raising Money video. But think about this. This market, when it's down and flat, it did this in the 90s. We only have history to go by. It stayed flat for 6 years, giving anyone who understood the opportunity, who understood that opportunity at the time, just buy 1 or 2 solid properties a year. I bought 150, but you don't have to do that. If you buy 1 or 2 solid properties per year for the next 4 or 5 years, you will be very well off when the property values start to increase, rents start to go up. You're just getting prepared. But I want you to set them up so that it doesn't matter when it goes up. I call that getting paid to wait. You set up a property to cash flow right now and pay you right now. You're getting paid to wait for the next great market. And every day that goes by is one day closer to the next great market. I remembered in the 90s when everyone hated real estate. Heck, I even questioned myself for a little bit, like, why are we buying? Nobody wanted it. But that's the time to buy. It really is. Now is a great time to buy. If it gets worse, buy more. People need a place to live. You can provide it. And then you can ride it. I believe this market, when it finds its bottom, it may be there now. Remember, you don't know the bottom until you're beyond it. You can't see it when you're in it. We'll know it was bottom if values are higher in a year from now, but we don't know that yet. So you use a strategy where it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter when they go up. When we bought our 280-unit apartment complex, we knew that it would appraise for twice what we paid for it right then. Twice. We knew that it could create an amazing cash flow right then. It didn't matter what the market did in the future. It could have stayed flat from the time we bought it in the mid-90s to today, and we would have been very happy with that property. Now, as it turned out, it more than doubled in value, probably tripled. But that's not important. What's important is that you make your profit when you buy. You buy wholesale. That's what my program's all about. You set it up. If it goes up in value, it's just extra. So you think about long term. You have a family now. Think it over. Sit down. Where do you want to be in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years from now? You're in an amazing market with an amazing opportunity. You're a member of an amazing program taught to you by someone who's still doing it every day. I have 15 or 16 transactions going right now. I'm going to bring you fresh lessons all the time, but the core training works. It's almost as old as real estate is. All right, the core training works. Will there be new things to learn? Sure there will be. right? Will there be new strategies to employ? Probably, or variations of the ones that already are proven. And I bring it to you every time. So let's think about our families, let's think about how we can provide, let's enjoy the process. It shouldn't be drudgery, right? It should be fun. And let's enjoy it as we go. And let's know we're doing the right thing for us, for our family, but for everybody that's around us. When you win, everyone wins. Your contractor, your title company, the real estate agents, your insurance guy. I mean, the list just goes on. You know, I'll take a look sometimes at how much money goes back into the local economy from every transaction I do, and it's staggering. You need to learn all those expenses so that you make sure you buy low enough to pay them all and still have something for you. So very exciting. Congratulations on having a family. It's important. It's more important than this stuff, but this stuff can make it even better. I'll see you on the next video.